Hello everyone and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Now you join me for the first time inside my Boxster. Until now I don't think I've ever filmed inside. I'm having a lot of fun with this car since buying it and I think I'm going to make a, sort of a first impressions video of it soon. It will be out in a few weeks, maybe a month or so. Today I'm going to do a Q&A because my channel has rolled over 10,000 subscribers. In a world where YouTubers get tens of millions, that may not seem like a lot, but I'm incredibly proud and very appreciative and grateful for the community that has been built around the appreciation for car content. So thank you for subscribing, thank you for following me, and thank you for supporting me. Today we're going to do a little Q&A, but before I get into that, I just want to say a quick apology for maybe not uploading enough recently. It's been Christmas and New Year's, and I've just been trying to focus on some time with family and friends, give myself a bit of a break. And it sounds like the apocalypse is coming outside, if you can hear that. It's crazy. Anyway. Now, a few months ago, I asked all of you at the time to send me in some questions, and I haven't really got around to doing that, so I thought now would be the perfect opportunity. So let's get started. A few random ones. So Nathan Knight, M2 or CLA 45 AMG. Now for me this is a no-brainer, an M2 for sure. The CLA has got a great powertrain and it's a nice looking car, but I feel the M2 is a pure thoroughbred performance-orientated vehicle. So M2, 100%. And I think the M2 probably looks a bit better as well. So his final question, Lamborghini or Ferrari? I think that's quite a tough question. I think I'm going to try to be a little bit diplomatic with my answer for this question, but I'm going to say Lamborghini for sound, because I think the Aventador is the best sounding car in the entire world. But I'm probably going to go for like something that I actually want to use on a daily basis, like Ferrari. I'd love to have a 458 Speciale. I think that would be probably the ultimate supercar to be able to run on a regular basis. So Spicy Frizz says, opinions on Mercedes G-Wagon. I love the G-Wagon. If I had enough money, I would have one for sure. When I was lucky enough to test Velocicar's G-Wagon, it was a really eye-opening experience. Because when you look at it, it's this huge hulking like tank of a machine. But actually, in fact, it's very easy to drive and it's actually quite luxurious. And it was my first time driving an SUV like that, so it was kind of difficult at the same time, just like judging the size, going down small country lanes and things. But the sound is absolutely superb. The look of the aesthetic of the vehicle, you know, it's a G-Wagon. There's nothing else that compares to it. So love the G-Wagon. TT says, how did I get into cars? This person actually has a couple questions as well. When I was a little kid, basically, I used to play, I'm sure we've all heard of Hot Wheels cars. I used to play with Hot Wheels cars all the time, and my favourite was a yellow 355 Berlinetta. Loved it. Then got into F1, and then I started karting when I was at uni. And then one day I just decided I would try the car YouTube thing myself. So, TT's second question, with a limited budget of $200,000 US, I could buy 5 cars, what would they be? That's a very difficult question. It probably, I would have to fill out some different criteria or, you know, different sections of the car world. So maybe an A45, because that could give me performance and it's compact and it's also, you know, quite good for daily use. So what's that? I don't know, $50,000 probably gone already. So $150,000 left. Maybe a classic. So like I said, so maybe a classic, something like a Triumph Spitfire maybe. That could be quite fun if it's in good working condition, as there's something you could sort of take out at the weekend, or an old Lotus Elan, something like that, something small and sort of nippy. What's that going to be? I don't know, $30,000, so that's 80. What else would I like? Maybe a newer Boxster, like a 981S. That could be quite fun to have. So that's like another, I don't know how much that is, maybe another $50,000 or something. So that's $130,000 done. 2 more. Probably something like the Lexus NX 300 hybrid that I drove recently. The size of it's fantastic and it's very well equipped. It's really enjoyable and really easy to drive, so maybe that. And final car, I don't have a huge amount of money left really. If I had a little bit left, if I had enough left, I probably won't have anywhere near enough left. I'd like to make it stretch to something like an AMG GTS. But in reality, I would probably maybe buy something like, I don't know, another Mercedes, like an E-Class coupe or something like that, just so I have something that's a little bit bigger that you can sort of, I don't know, make sort of larger journeys in more comfort. I don't really know. It's quite a hard question. So TC again, which one is more interesting for you, the aesthetic part of cars or the mechanical? Difficult. I mean, aesthetic in some ways, there can be sort of a mechanical aspect to it as well in terms of design, with like aerodynamic design. So there's sort of fluid dynamics goes into that as well. So that's a part of it. So, but I suppose I've answered that question with a sort of mechanical slant on it. So I suppose I have to say mechanical. The things that are being achieved through cars now, the addition of computers, is absolutely astounding. Mechanical for sure. AR says, what is your dream car from any era? My dream car is probably going to be either an F40 or an F50, if I can choose one from any era. I've filmed, as you may have seen, both of those. And actually, no, I'll say the F50. The F40 was incredibly difficult to get in and out of, and it was actually quite uncomfortable. But the F50 had that just insane performance and exclusivity, but also being like fairly easy to get out of because you can just take the roof off. So I'll probably say Ferrari F50. Aaron M, what is your dream car? Money's no obstacle. This is his first of 2 questions. My dream car. I suppose that sort of goes into that as well. Yeah, probably Ferrari F50. And his second question is, what is your realistic dream car? Something relatively attainable. Probably a McLaren 570 GT. Why not the S? I like the lines of the 570 GT. I like the way that the roof slopes back into the rear of the car. And in a few years, I imagine they'll probably be, sort of under £100,000, which I would say should hopefully be fairly attainable. And if not the 570 GT, I'd probably have to go for an AMG GTS. Finn the Toaster says, Finn the Toaster, great name by the way. What is one car you would want to review in the future? There's loads coming up. I really want to see the Lamborghini Urus and look at that in detail. I'd probably, the Project One from McLaren, and the BP23 that's going to come out, and the Senna from McLaren, and definitely the Valkyrie. So all high-end stuff. What about the sort of lower stuff? The Kia Singer, really want to have a look at that in detail. And probably the new A45 and the new A35 as well that's going to be coming out. Victor has a few questions. How did I get involved into cars? So I pretty much already answered that one. And have you thought on a project car? What would that be? I would really like to do a project car, and I probably would like to do something like a Triumph Spitfire, actually. I don't know what you would all think about that. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing me doing that, because I could maybe, make that work. JCM Automotive says, any plans for the Abarth? Well, unfortunately, the Abarth has now been sold. For those who don't know, I had an Abarth 595 Competizione 180. I decided to sell it to get the car that I'm now in, which is the Porsche, whoever wants to say it. But the only plans I had were the ones I showed you, really, I think, with the little carbon bits on the front and the back and making sure that it was detailed to perfection. So that was it. Sam, 150,100, says, where am I from? I am English, and I live in the UK, quite near London. Jamal Nasir says, what do I think about the Viper retirement? Well, it went out with a bang, didn't it? I mean, the last special edition model of that, the aero on it was absolutely huge. And in Salamondrin's videos, he sort of proved that it was actually a performance-orientated vehicle as well. It wasn't all just for show. Dion P206 says, how do you get access to review the cars that I film? That's the first out of 2 questions he's asked. I just ask, basically. I try to see what cars are currently for sale, and what cars are coming up, and new releases, and where they're going to be. And if I find out and I think that they could be interesting and that you will enjoy watching them, then I'll just send an email, or I'll call, or I'll go into a dealership or something, and I'll literally just ask, and I'll tell them about my channel. And hopefully we can go on from there. The second question from Dion P206 is, what would you choose, a luxury car or supercar for a daily ride? Luxury car, probably something like an S63 coupe, I suppose. That's pretty fast as well. Supercar, 570 GT or a 488, something like that. Deb says, which car would you select for the following requirements? Luxury. probably once again, if I had no budget whatsoever, luxury, probably the S63 Coupe, a new one. Practical daily driving family car. I really like the Lexus that I filmed with recently, the NX300 Hybrid. So maybe that, for that. Sporty exotic ride. If I could have any for daily use, I wouldn't have to worry about being too precious about or worrying about or anything. It'd probably be a 458 Speciale. Because when I reviewed one of those or filmed one of those a few months ago, it just felt so set up. I loved it. An off-roader G-Wagon. It would have to be a G-Wagon. I love those. And I don't think they get taken off-road anywhere near enough. And Abhinav Akatesh Ubedeye, hopefully I said your name right, how do you access to such a plethora of beautiful cars? Just answered that already. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I'll try to make a video about the Porsche and why I bought it and why this car and the special features of this model, etc., in its own piece of content. So any questions about the car will be answered eventually. But until that happens, I hope that I answered all of the questions properly. And until next time, thanks for watching.